Hello, my name is Eglė Jakubavičiūtė. I work at Nature Research Center in Vilnius, Lithuania. Today I would like to share with you some results from our recent study. We often hear about the conflict between commercial and recreational fishing and discussions about their relative importance. And in many cases, commercial fishing clearly imposes major mortality on fish populations. But in some inland areas, recreational fishing can also have a huge role. But how big? Can a few anglers with fishing rods be compared to large fishing nets? One particularly interesting example is Kaunas water reservoir that we have here in Lithuania. Lithuania is one of the Baltic countries in Europe, bordering Poland and Belarus, and Kaunas water reservoir is next to our second largest city named Kaunas. Kaunas water reservoir actually is very attractive to many anglers from all over Lithuania. Kaunas water reservoir was created in the late 50s by damming the river Nemunas. It is a relatively large, productive inland freshwater ecosystem, and it was really heavily exploited until 2013 when the commercial fishery has been banned, meaning all gillnet fishing has been banned. You can see from the graph that in the early 2000s, commercial catches increased substantially, depleting fish stocks and eventually resulting in a complete ban of the commercial fishery. It is also a unique system in terms that we have data of fish monitoring both before and after commercial fishery ban. So what one would expect after commercial fishery ban is of course a recovery. And indeed, abundance of roach, one of the main species in the system and the main commercial fish species, has skyrocketed after the commercial fishery ban in 2013. Same recovery can also be seen in their size distributions in the scientific surveys, which clearly show a marked increase in large fish. So it seems that roach is doing just fine. Silver bream, a relatively similar species, has also increased in abundance after the commercial fishery ban. Even though it was not a popular commercial species, it nevertheless likely had a high mortality as a bycatch with bream. So these are the trends one would expect after the commercial fishery ban. However, not all species are doing so well. Perch, one of the main predators in the ecosystem, does not show any signs of recovery, even after almost a decade after ban. Catch per unit effort is basically the same for the last 20 years or so, and the size structure did not change significantly. Likewise, in pikeperch, the major predator in the ecosystem, we don't see any signs of recovery, neither in catch per unit estimates nor in the size distributions. Bream also does not show much improvement, although it was one of the main commercial fish species. Why the situation is different with these species? Why don't they recover? Well, after commercial fishery ban in 2013, there was some indication that the number of recreational anglers has increased considerably. But actually no one knew how many anglers there are, as I guess is the case for most places in the world. We had no idea about the intensity of recreational fishing. So we conducted a large survey, first by combining conventional visual land or boat-based counts with the remotely piloted drones, and with the data from a popular sonar device Deeper, we estimated how many anglers there are. Please see a talk by Justas Dainys explaining this in further detail. The numbers actually surprised us. For example, here is a picture of angler counts in one morning of ice fishing season. Red dots are deeper observations and blue dots are drone counts. It turns out that there are more than 100,000 fishing trips made per year. Next, we conducted on-site surveys to assess how much fish anglers catch. In total, there were over 900 surveys where species and sizes of caught fish were recorded. To standardize catch per fishing trip, we applied mixed effect models where catch per trip is estimated as a function of season and year. But we found out that here was not a significant factor, meaning that over the period we have data, the catch per fishing trip did not change significantly. So now we know how many anglers there are and how many fish they catch per trip, so we can estimate catches per year. And by the way, if you would like to learn more about these surveys, you can always visit our website of Sustainable Inland Fisheries. So now we can compare commercial and recreational catches to get a full picture. Let's look at the roach again, but this time with both commercial and estimated recreational catches on the same plot. Here indeed, recreational catches are negligible, so after banning commercial fishery stocks recovered rapidly. A dashed line shows our best guess. We just assume that recreational catches has doubled since the early 90s, and this assumption is made for all species. Similar situation is with another relatively similar species, silver bream. Here again, recreational catches are minor compared to commercial catches that used to be. So the fish seems to have a chance to recover, which it does. Perch, however, is a completely different story. It turns out that recreational catches for perch are at least 10 times higher or even up to 20 times higher than commercial catches, which probably explains quite well why we don't see much recovery. What about pike perch? For the pike perch, recreational catches are now on average 6 times higher than commercial catches that used to be. Again, it's probably no surprise why don't we see a recovery. Pressure from commercial fishery has likely been lower than pressure from the recreational fishery. For the bream, recreational catches are now on average 3 times higher than the commercial catches. Although uncertainty of recreational fishery estimation is big, it still looks like recreational catches are nevertheless bigger than commercial catches. And here is estimation in tons. Again, you can clearly see that recreational catches are very likely, despite high uncertainty, to be much higher than commercial, especially for the perch, pike perch, and bream. Recreational fishery is highly selective. In Kaunas water reservoir, it is likely to be having a major impact on the recovery of pikeperch and perch, which are the main predators in the ecosystem, and bream, which is also a highly prized fish and desired catch. In contrast, recovery of roach, which is rarely caught by anglers, has been remarkably rapid, and the species is now dominating the ecosystem. So this study demonstrates how recreational fishing can have strongly different impacts on different species, altering relative species composition. So for the predatory fish species, current recreational fishing catches is likely to lead to further stock declines and further predation release of bentivorous fish in the system. So what's next? What can we do? It will be interesting to hear your experiences from other places, because this is likely to be a potential problem in many areas. After all, I guess predatory fish are often more attractive for anglers. What is also very interesting to me is that the study highlights the fact that it would be important to assess recreational fishing catches and include it into stock assessments. We can also discuss whether more strict controls and catch and release fishing would help to achieve more healthy stocks. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm really happy to answer all your questions. Just contact me anytime via email. Please also check out 3 other related talks by our team about recreational fishing research.